what's happening with the funding? Like, you are also receiving donations from people over there. It's just like, in general, how is working with?
You see, Emmanuel, because in Australia, women, refuges for women and children living in domestic violence operate privately with a lot of confidentiality.
Yes.
For many years, we have not exposed ourselves to the external world, actually.
Okay.
Like in terms of exposing in terms of organizational level.
Yeah.
Not in terms of service provision. In case management and the provision of service, we always have been very upfront and exposed and then advocated strongly. But in terms of the organization, we kept it very quiet for many years, not exposed at all, because of concerns of location, of identity of workers.
Yeah.
Considering there's not a very large jurisdiction in the ACT, you raise it, the people might be recognized. We are recognized too, much more, much more often.
Yeah.
It's very often that I would just go to the supermarket and see a couple of former clients there, or their children.
Yes, for sure.
Some will approach and speak to me, and some will pretend that they don't know me. And they're absolutely fine, because I always wait for their reaction. I never have any reaction before, at all. I have zero reaction if I see somebody that I know was
have the experience.
My work. But if they have the reaction, then I'm there. If they don't have, there is a reason for that. They don't want to talk to me. They don't want to remember, be reminded of that, or they don't want somebody to see them talking to me or asking them, who am I? Because they don't want to disclose, their circumstances. So
their decision, anyway.
Their position. So, it's the exposure of workers is also a component.
Yeah.
Particularly when we work with small communities.
Yes.
For example, a specific cultural community from, we said Latin America. For let's say a community from a country in Latin America.
Yeah.
And in Canberra, there are not that many members of that community, but they are part of the community as a person, but they also work there. And they might also be helping somebody in that community.
Right.
Against somebody in that community that knows them too.
Yes.
So that complicates for us workers. There are some elements, some of them have had difficulties with that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes by betrayal from our own clients. It happens sometimes that we ask clients, you are from that community, I'm helping you, I'm from that community, you know me, I know you, or you I know people. So please never identify outside of here that I work here, that we are associated because of here.
Yes.
It's good for you, good for me. But sometimes things come out, and then some workers have had difficulties in their community because of that, some comments, some discrimination against their children, and so those type of things can exist, but we cope and do all of that because we have been exposed for so long. We've been doing for so long. We have expertise in this area.
Yeah,
expertise. So therefore, we also learn that takes a certain type of people to do the work that we do. It's not for everyone, but
right.
If you are drawn to doing this work, you also learn to be very resilient.
Yes.
Very absolutely inclusive, non-judgmental. Please, that's unacceptable in our group at all. And that you have critical thinking. So that you think of all the aspects of why the situation is occurring, and not just because, the society told you that.
Yeah.
Or respond in the appropriate manner. So it's not because somebody asked me for the information that I need to provide.
Right.
If the information is not mine, it's somebody else. And I have a duty of care to that person.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter the authority that is asking me. Has absolutely no difference for me.
Right.
What authority is asking me. If it's something that ethically I cannot diverge, I cannot diverge. If I need legally, then it's different.
Yes.
Then can I have an order? So it's those type of understanding and participation in the sector is You only gain with exposure, with time, with interest, with commitment, having the right approach. So and the resilience comes also with the separation of life.
Okay.
So my life is separated from this.
Yes.
From other life, from my work life, as much as I possibly can. I'm very capable of that. I'm fantastic with that. Some workers they struggle a bit more, and it's very common in this area that you don't work full time.
Yeah.
Because it can get too much. So generally, my team, we work, most of them work 3 days or 4 days a week. I'm the only full-time.
Okay.
You asked me earlier about how we operate. We are old guard, Doris, in the past, long ago, even before funding, and even with funding, there was something called collective in women's service. So, all decisions were made collectively. There was not a vertical component of management in women's service. So everybody had a say. That model is a bit difficult to manage.
Mm-hmm.
But then we became incorporated. Doris became incorporated even before I started the Doris. So things changed. But most organizations now, they have CEOs or managers, directors. We never moved from that collective thinking.
Okay.
Yeah. So Doris, we continue with our collective thinking in terms of our team, but not in the previous model of everybody has a say. There is a little bit of a vertical. There is a vertical, and that's me.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Yes.
So ultimately, I'll make decisions.
Right. Yeah.
But no, because I have to carry the responsibility.
Right.
Because I'm the coordinator, so the position that I occupy is coordinator. It's not manager, it's not CEO, it's not director. I'm just the coordinator of service for everyone.
Yes.
I coordinate the service, but I do have that major responsibility legally.
Yeah.
And morally too. So therefore, I make the ultimate decision as mine, but I very seldom need to take that position to make my decision. That's the decision that we'll go with. Very seldom, because we discuss things and we reach the decision together. And most things,
it's really collective.
Sometimes I have more view. No, it's not going to be this. Because of this, it's going to be this. And then people understand, we didn't know that.
Yeah.
I said, but I know because I've lived through this. Or it might be that we don't agree.
Yeah.
One part of the team thinks that we need to be doing this for this family. And another part say, no, we should not be doing this. We should be doing something else. Or we should not intervene. We should let it take the course because she seems to be manager or she is me. So we might have a different view. Or a referral, we should take this referral, we should not take this referral.
Yeah.
Sometimes my team will see, oh my God, we have this family with this level of complexity, other family with, mental health problems, and we have sometimes going on leave next month, and we are here think that there's going to be a very difficult case. This case will destroy us. We're going to have to work so much. I don't think we can cope with that level of complexity now. Can we take one that's not that complex?
Yeah.
We will discuss this. I'll do my best. But sometimes I, as the coordinator, I see the case that might put us all in stress is the one that has more merit in terms of urgency, of risk. So I'll go back and say, no, we will take this.
You're right.
We are going to struggle. I know, I understand. Let me explain to you why we're going to. We have to look at this. I cannot make we cannot go elsewhere. We cannot leave this space here because it's very important. What do we know of the system to predict what's going to happen to their family if we say no? Because we do know that too.
That's
okay. So when we say no to someone, we've been doing this for so long and we are so much on the ground that when we are making decisions, we know the consequence of those decisions in the system.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know that. Okay, we might be offering a loan of $1,000 to sort out a car problem immediately for a client that does not have where to take, and they will repay bits by bit. Although we don't have that program, but I could also refer to somewhere where there is that program, and they can get a free interest loan.
Yeah.
But there's a process that they might take, and and sometimes we will make that decision because we need that time saved for something more important.
Right.
So we manage time, we manage complexities all the time at the refuge. We also manage a lot of emotional needs of both those that are with us now and they have been in the past. Because the level of isolation is very high in our community. So we do have people that have lived with us and moved on and established lives, but they're still very isolated. And because they have no one, many, particularly migrant and refugee, they will consider us to be their family.
Okay. Yeah.
So that linkage is very prominent. It's no one that we seek. It's no one that we necessarily find completely positive for everyone. But it is for many because they do have nowhere else to go. So they will come to us for the happy celebrations. They will just show up after school with the cake because today is his birthday and we are going to sing the happy birthday with you.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's no other parties, just the birthday was planned by her to celebrating the first 5 minutes with us, because that's what gives them pleasure, because they are with people that love them, that they feel that we are their family. So we hear very often this, you are my family. The repercussion of this for us, for some of our workers and for me in particular, I seem to just take up upon myself, is the amount of children for which I am the emergency contact in Canberra.
Yes. You have an idea of the number?
If your child go to school, your name and number will be at the emergency contact at the school or at the hospital or at the doctor's office or wherever you need to put who is responsible, who is emergency contact.
Yeah.
And some people have no one to put. So they ask us. And they ask, and we always say yes. Because when your mother is asking, can you be the emergency? They already ask, imploring, because they already thought of everything and they need somebody that they can trust and they trust us. Sometimes they will ask one of the workers.
Yeah.
And it's up to them or bring to me because I always say yes. Because my God, somebody not having, the ability to give an emergency contact for a child. I've been in that position. When I moved to Australia, I had a child.
Oh, yeah.
Alone. She was young, and I knew 0 persons in Australia.
Right.
And I worked the whole time at the NU every day. My daughter stayed at school and after school care, and before school care, all the time until I could get home.
Yeah.
6:30, 7 p.m. And my fear, I think it was the most I feared ever, because I had a very privileged life. Very stable family, very happy circumstances. But if I felt fear in my life, it was because of that period in Australia where I had to leave my daughter in another suburb, go far to spend the whole day knowing that I would only get home 6-something at the hands of other people, and afraid that I would have an accident or feel unwell. Because should that happen, there would be no one to call but the police or child protection. And nobody would know anyone to refer my daughter to until I could be hurt, if I could say, or immigration would say that
look in the file.
Find in Brazil a relative that they knew there was and identify, contact my brother. Or my brother, or my family, my mother, finding that I'm not in contact and contacting the ANU.
Yeah, to see what's going on. Yeah.
But that would take some time that my daughter would be in trauma with unknown people in a different environment at night or for days. That was the worst fear in my life. And I absolutely understand and feel when people ask me, can you be the emergency contact for my child? And when they do that, I say, absolutely, it's my privilege. And more, I will tell you, if I get a phone call that your child needs me, I'll leave whatever I'm doing, and I'll be there as fast as I can. You can be sure of that. I'll leave the Prime Minister mid-sentence. Should he ever or she ever want to speak to me, in mid-sentence, if I get a phone call that your child needs me. So give some sense of belonging, and it's very important, something so simple.
Yeah, it is.
They sometimes come to see me once a year, at Christmas usually, on Mother's Day. Just say, oh, be so big. But just to say thank you for being the contact to my... So 3, 4, 5 years later, I'm still the emergency contact for that child.
Yeah.
So it has happened many times that I've been, taken from whatever I'm doing and go quick to the school.
Right.
Because they couldn't locate the mother and the child was in sick bay.
Right. Both of them, they know you, and then it's
very grave.
Oh, yeah.
Thank God with children, thank
God. And then if someone is listening or watching us now and she's in a violent situation, what would you say to them and what they should do?
I would say to them the following. You are the best judge of your circumstances and your risks. Nobody can tell you better than yourself how bad the risk is. So, if you believe that your risk is very high, you need to act. Otherwise, you die. Many die. Don't think that you won't, because you might. So, if your risk is very high and you think it is high, you have to do something, even though the risk of doing something is very frightening. But you need, because if you believe that the risk is that serious, that you might be hurt badly, you need to do something. And that something is seeking help from the Domestic Violence Crisis Service from in Canberra, 628-00900, or from the police. You just call whatever your emergency is. If it's 000, it is 000. If you cannot attend or call police station or the no emergency number, you need to do something. If it's not to that level of fear or of risk that you believe that's not as much as to warrant that you can plan to live, you should plan to live and do a safety plan. Do a safety plan before you move with any decision. You can do the safety planning by contacting the Domestic Violence Crisis Service, or even contacting online. You can, or even calling the national hotline for domestic violence, the 1-800-RESPECT. They will support you to do find the support that you need to do a safety planning, so that you are prepared, if you can prepare before you leave. Don't let anybody judge you for the time that it takes you to leave, or for the number of times that you return and then you leave again. Don't let anybody lecture you on what it is the right thing to do. You are the expert on your safety. Nobody else understands your risks better than you. Nobody else knows how to read the behavior, the horrible behavior, the risky behavior, because it's all about behavior of me. Because of the behavior of men that we have violence. And so that behavior, you understand that behavior than anybody else, than the psychiatrist, than the expert in domestic violence, than the police, than the judge, than anybody. You understand that particular risk in your home, in your life. So make the decision based on that risk if you can, considering, of course, that risk. You will make the right decision and live. You should aim to live. You deserve not to live in violence. You deserve to be respected. You deserve. But if you need to stay, you try to do the safety planning anyway. If you need to stay, we're not here to judge you. You are the expert in your safety and your children's safety. And sometimes you need to stay. You will decide to stay because at least you'll be there with your children. Always. There won't be visitations alone with the perpetrator. If you're afraid for your child, maybe you will stay because of that, because some do. Generally, what we see are women in contact with perpetrators, whether they are still there or have left, when they have children, managing the risks themselves. We see this all the time. There are so many single women moms managing parenting arrangements. They are unsatisfactory. Okay. They put them in contact with people they have harmed them, and sometimes they have harmed their children. One way or another, they have harmed their children because they were in an environment the violence was being perpetrated against her.
Yeah.
And she needs to continue to manage that risk for years and years because of the child, because of orders, because of the entitlement of the other parent, violent parents sometimes, to have access to their child. That decisions from the court is not from her, is not from us. So, but she might still, afraid of that decision, make decisions to protect her children by staying. So the woman is the one that needs to say, you know what, where she needs to go. And we are here just to support her and do all that we can to make her safe and to provide resources. Will she get help if she is in a position to reach for help? Yeah, there is help out there. If you need to insist, you need to say clearly, you need to be a good advocate for yourself and be, as you are already strong, even though you might be breaking, you still need to find the strength to have that ability to advocate for yourself in a way that will show that you will not accept other response than a positive response for your needs because you have your children involved. And the government services are there, social services are there to respond to your needs, to people that need, to the needs of, the difficulties in society. So you are entitled to their help, and you should look for the help. There are many ways that you can talk to people if you can find the privacy to inform yourself better of what you can expect. You can call the domestic violence crisis and ask. You can call legal aid, the hotline, the Women's Legal Center. There's a line too. There's a period of time every day that they will, weekdays that they will provide advice over the phone by a lawyer. So you should inform yourself the best that you can get informed about the system, about what to expect, and establish those relationships. For example, if you think you're going to leave, you're preparing to leave, establish your relationship with the DVCS, Domestic Violence Crisis, before you leave. Maybe establish your relationship with a solicitor, in Women's Legal Center or Legal Aid if you can before you leave. But if you see the risk increasing, you must call the police, you must call the neighbor, you must leave, because you don't want to die, you don't want your children to be further harmed.
Definitely. And if this happens, what does the future look like for a woman and children that who come to Doris?
They have left, yes. So those that have left, oh my God, it's such a enormous step forward. It represents so much, the courage to seek the start of something new, of building something new, of taking back the control of oneself and of your choice. But there's also comes with a lot of responsibility. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Being alone, looking after children alone, organizing arrangements for children like changing schools, changing whatever other commitments children might have. Your own employment, if you have one, or the components. You might be pregnant. There are so many elements at play. So those that have had the capacity to, and condition and the strength to live, and they enter with us. We will work with them on their needs. If it's education, it's education. If it's employment, it's employment. If it's health, it's mental health.
Yeah.
If it's legal, it generally is. There's a lot of legal process involvement so if it's a child care arrangement, if it is, a counseling, we have programs for children at the Refuge as groups and individually.
Yeah.
We also have programs for women in terms of education, generally for life. But we also facilitate and fund as much as we can that the participation in the training and educational and building skills and employment. So we go through all areas to support that woman.
Yeah.
And she will receive from us all that she needs to have a dignified life while they are in supported crisis emergency accommodation, what it's called, but in our refuge. So while they are with us, they will be in separate units, so families are not sharing. Okay, so our refuge was built for purpose in 2001, the site that we occupy. We opened it in 1987, but we operated in diverse sites in Canberra, but we've been the same site that was built for purpose of the refuge, the main site, with the exception of external properties. We were built for purpose, so we are contained so that improves safety.
Yeah.
The security. So
important.
Cameras within the complex external areas, so anybody that enters is recorded.
Yeah.
And it's seen, so we can keep some women that have some families are highest risk than others.
Right.
Some families have associations with people. They have more capacity to find them or to harm them. Some women are associated with people that are more emotionally, religiously, culturally more prone to react more emotionally strongly by separation.
Right.
One of the most dangerous time for any woman is separation time. Yes. So when
it's another step.
Not necessarily because the man loves the woman, on the contrary, and wants her to stay. It might have so many elements. It might have elements of income. It might have elements of social presentation of a family, of not disclosing the violence that is happening there. Or, there's so many elements.
Friends, that you're not friends.
Association, there's so many, social standard and family. It might be that. Or it might just be the usefulness of having somebody that cleans, that wash, that cooks, that, that you can order around, that they will raise your children there with you. So there's so many elements there that people can use. So it's very important that, safety, security, that people feel secure, safe, when for some more than others, that you can absolutely know straight away who is more concerned with the security than who is not as much. So everybody wants to know that the window's locked, that the screen door, there's safety screen door, that you have a phone to call anytime.
The cameras, everything, yeah.
So everybody's happy with that, but some people you can immediately know that the level is higher, like the concerns, and then you will know why. It's because of associations they might have. And in some cases we have had, there's so many, diverse examples of people's lives that we are privileged to, and unfortunately on one side, need to witness and know.
Yeah.
For example, we have situations of families that enter our refuge and don't ever leave for 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah.
Ever. They stay inside the house. We go out to buy the milk,
everything,
bring the food, because they don't want to be seen not only by the perpetrator, but those associated with the perpetrator.
Yeah.
It's very complex.
It's a part of the process.
There are many things that happen that, that when you're dealing with women, with those circumstances, children, in the intimate situation that they are in, you learn and you experience so many things that I could spend the day to tell you. So example of things such as this ring was given to me by my grandmother. It's valuable. He's going to steal it. I don't want it to steal. Can you keep safe for me?
Yeah.
Okay. My documents, all my children, he keep safe for me. So there are a number of things that are unwritten that happens. They are not in our policies, but they happen because we are dealing with people's lives that are changing.
Yes.
In process of change, and the needs are diverse, and we will have our wraparound support. If it's not illegal, I'm helping.
Agree.
And your family must be really proud of you.
My family?
Oh, yes, for sure. And a lot of people...
Proud why? Why would they be proud of me?
Oh, no.
I'm proud of the ability that some people that went through a very challenging events that I never dreamed of and never witnessed. And they happened to them in the most intimate, relationships with people that they cared for, that they should protect them.
Yeah.
When I hear that they went through this, and sometimes repeatedly, and that today they are standing and raising a family and manage their lives and hopefully and some having a much better condition. They are the strong ones, not I. I am a privileged person, that.
And what do you hope they see as your legacy?
My legacy. At Doris, I can only speak about Doris because I spent my life in that, environment, in that community. I think that my legacy it's more for workers, but the team that I have is the legacy that I want to leave is for them.
Okay.
And it is the confidence that I hope that I have passed to them. Some confidence to be loud and rough and real and not be afraid at all to speak the truth and to take the risks. I've done that a lot at Doris, and I've been classified sometimes as, you're mad. You are mad. Why would you do that? You brought this complicated situation to us. Why did you do that? Other things that I notice very often that I think it's because the risks that people in general, including our workers, have been exposed to in terms of survivalship in Australia on a social, economic basis, have not been very challenged like we have from Latin America. Some of us, I haven't because as I said, come from privilege in terms of, both the a very healthy family and capable family and background. But for many, they do not have that reaction of being very strong against something that they believe.
Yeah.
And I noticed this in some of the workers that I have, many, that, you need to gain the voice and the ability to be loud. Because if you are not loud doing the advocacy work that you do, you don't achieve, you are not heard.
Right.
You can only be heard if you are very loud. When I say loud, it's not only screaming, it's showing, writing. It's the words that you write that are very real and very crude and very real, exposing exactly what it is and not using half phrases, half sentence to describe something that might be shocking for someone. If you think it's going to be shocking for someone, put an alert at the top of the page. In confidence, alert. By reading this document, you will be made aware of significant events of family, domestic, or violence against women, or violence against children. So you read if you want to, but you are warned not to read. But when you write to advocate for someone, to submit to an external organization, you need to say the truth as it is, because very few do. And if you don't, you might not achieve because your number might not be heard. And then the person that you're trying to achieve for her will not get that.
Yeah.
Will not get what they need. So it's your responsibility. That's your role as a support worker, as a case worker, as a family domestic violence, sexual violence worker, on the ground, face to face, which is such a valuable work that receives zero recognition in terms of payment, in terms of status.
Right.
You see people that do 10% of what our case worker does, and they have all that status. When our case worker, that are the real ones, that really make the difference, that do all the legwork, that actually make it happen, they actually have the relationship, they are not recognized. We are not recognized. So those workers, they, on top of all of this, they also need to be strong enough to be loud with authorities, with those in power, because those in power are the ones that can make a decision to change the reality of someone. When the whole system is not working, and it's so often that the system doesn't work oily, easily. Just submit and we'll go through the parameters and we'll be at the end of a result. No, if you do not follow up, if you do not strongly, if you don't speak the right people, it doesn't happen. It's very hard, labor-intensive work to achieve anything for anybody. Be it, it's not simple, refer. You refer to a lawyer, so what? So you need to attend, you need to understand, you need to advocate, you need to question the law, you need to provide examples, you need to provide further evidence, whatever is necessary to make a case work, because your aim is to support the decision that the client has made that is best for her life. And that's your responsibility to try to help her make that happen, that she has access fairly to access to service, to participation, to entitlements, to rights, and also explain to her responsibilities throughout the process, including mainly towards their children.
Okay. Marluce, how people can help or support Doris Women's Refugee?
We do not have, the structure to go out, expose ourselves to fundraising, because we are small, and we are completely taken all the time by the work that we do. We would like to help more women, but we don't have that capacity, so we stick to our capacity.
Yes.
So going out for help externally, we only do that through submission of grants.
Okay.
Opportunities of grants, so we apply for diverse grants. Just the other day, we were very happy that Hands Across Canberra approved a submission that we made only for $10,000, but for us it's very important.
Yes.
And it's exclusively to improve the ability of people to heat their homes and spend less in gas and electricity. So better dunas, better curtains, heaters. Many live in properties that, they don't have the heating, or the heating, the wall is those old electric ones that heat nothing and will break the bank completely. So we provide proper good heaters, even clothing, jackets or what's for children. So we did it specifically for improvement of heating, including carpets too. What can make the home isolation? What we can do if for some, not going to be for many. But the funding was only for 10,000. We applied for one of the 10,000 and we got it, which is very important. That will help a bit more. We do have some donors. I need to say.
Yeah.
We do have a few, not many, and they are very generous, and they are very committed to us. So we have our defenders. We have those that come to help, and I must say that we are very privileged that those individuals that donate to us, they don't ask for anything back at all. They don't ask for a report. They don't ask. They don't determine where we're going to spend, if it's for children or if it is for, school related. They don't. They just trust us for whatever we need to do. We always write reports. We always present what we've done. But we do have, and yearly they will make a donation that is significant, that will help.
Yeah.
Particularly the Canberra Safe House program, which is the program that we have that is community funded only for migrant and refugee women and children living violence that do not have access to Centrelink.
Yeah.
So because of that population that we help, both accommodated in our safe house that is community funded, and those that are in other situations of accommodation, but that we outreach to them what they need, is the reason for this, all the applications that we do to get funding, because it is an expensive exercise.
Yes.
And we don't have government funding that will make any difference in the level of expenditures that we have for this program. Not many women children, but overall, over the years, we have probably kept and sustained about 17 or 18 women children, with everything that they needed over a number of years, and advocated for them in regards to immigration. So that's a huge amount, because if you take one case of one family that is so complex, one family.
I know.
The other see, not even touch. First, there is no funding. Second, there is no hope. There is no hope. The majority will take people, for example, for a consultation with a migration lawyer or agent, and we'll just hear that there is no hope here. There is nothing we can do. And we can see that there is, if we demonstrate that they were victimized here, and that they are at risk if they return home. So it's a human rights-based work, and then we go and do that.
No, but also people can help by advocating about this thing, right? About these topics, about this reality, unfortunately, So it's important for them to share this information and to talk more about this, so people could be more confident, to look for help, to do just something different. Marluce, thank you so much. Something that you want to add?
I think I would ask whoever listens to my final words here in this interview, or this conversation that I'm having with you. We need community changing attitude, very strongly. We really need some strong responses from the whole of government and the whole of society to stop this from continue to happen. We cannot arrive in 5 years' time and have another study of maltreatment of children in the country and find that 49% reported witnessing or living or being victims of direct or domestic violence and family violence. Something needs to give and needs to change very urgently. So, and strongly. And I don't see that. Unfortunately, I am on the pathway to retirement. I've been doing this for too long. As I indicated, I finished university in 81, and when I finished university, I had already been working actually a very large mental health hospital for 3 years before I finished university. So I've been a social worker for long and been working in human and social service for many, many years. And it's unfortunate that I'm at the pathway to retirement. After 21 years in a specialist refuge and support service and advocacy service for women and children surviving domestic violence or live in crisis, domestic and family and sexual violence in the ACT, and find myself saying that the numbers have increased, not reduced, that the severity has increased, not reduced, that I fear for so many of the clients that I have that are still in difficult situations, and for their children, that we need to continue to every day to battle, to cross lines that should be already open to these women, these children. So I unfortunately, I think that we have so much more to do, so much more to do. It breaks my heart that we see funding sometimes not reaching those that are surviving now.
Yeah.
And sometimes are directed to, to what is deemed to be different concepts or projects or investigations that it's not responding to what is happening in reality right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm very concerned with that, including in our reality,
Yes.
including ACT. I'm really concerned that that we need to be a bit more committed and more responsible with the crisis that we have in front of us, with the number of people that are suffering, with the number of people that are exposed to trauma and surviving that and trying to survive that with a lot of consequences of mental health, drug and alcohol, health presentations, whatever else, and dysfunctions. And what we are going to see from those exposed, including children in the future. So it's ad infinitum. So we will never finish, never end, because we are not changing the base here. And the base here is a whole attitude, and very strong, and not very strong, that is unacceptable. And there is very severe punishment to those that abuse women, children, or anybody else, another person. So it's very important that I don't think there will be any change unless it comes very vertically from power, top power, with all the investment and all the strength and all the direction to all levels, that's unacceptable. And whatever is going to happen is going to have very serious consequences. So just now we heard that some are going to start using perpetrators that breach orders of the men, going to or already some using ankle monitoring, digital detection.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, we are so late in so many things. Those elements of protection, they have existed in some countries for years and years.
Yeah.
And we're just starting here, one thing or not. So that, to me, it shows how secondary it is, how non-urgent it is. Although we say it's urgent, we hear it's being said that it's a crisis, it's urgent, that it's priority. It's not. It's not. We are not seeing legislation that we saw and the reaction that we saw when people are being punched in the streets of Sydney.
Right.
We did not see the reaction. We are not seeing the reaction. We have not seen in domestic ever that strong reaction that is unacceptable, and whoever does that is mandatory prison sentence for. Why is not mandatory? So there are so many elements here of a perpetuation of the status quo, not only by perpetrators, but by society. So I'm really concerned that I have seen the real Canberra. I have seen.
You know the place.
I know the place. I know how it functions. I know what happens behind closed doors in large numbers. Over 21 years, I know the, and it's heartbreaking that it will remain, it will continue to happen, because it was, whatever was done was not done with enough commitment, with enough seriousness, with enough want, and with enough priority, with enough funding, with enough everything, in all levels. We are not seeing that, and so women should continue to be victims, and a lot of women die, and a lot of children die too. It's very important to recognize that children die from domestic violence. There are many children that die from domestic violence and family violence. No.
That's
Why are we going to continue to live through this without a very strong reaction? And that reaction is not coming at all. At all. At all.
Unfortunately, this thing is happening. Is this still happening?
Unfortunately, a bit, heartbroken to be leaving the good work, a solid organization that does work seriously and that goes beyond and above, just for a small team to have gone out for so many years to seek funding, to seek the money necessary to keep all these women and children that have had nothing in safety, at least with the basic that they need to live with decency. We have done this on our own without any help outside that made any difference besides token little bit. Otherwise, we fought for the money, we find the money, we develop the program, and we deliver the program ourselves, our own time, as workers, beyond what we do for Doris Women's Refuge, because the funding for Doris Women's Refuge does not cover this work. Yeah. And we do that too. Because of the appalling reality of women and children living without income. How can they survive? How can they survive?
Right, but I mean, you cannot control a lot of those numbers, but you have definitely changed the life of a lot of people, families, and that's, Marluce, that's huge.
Yeah, it's important. And I have wonderful and very solid, healthy and happy and supportive relationship with so many from the past. So I know a lot of people in Canberra. I'm very private in my personal time. I'm always with my family or with my time in things I like to do in my own time at home or elsewhere. But also for me to have, a healthy Monday to Friday at work, that I'm doing something else that pleases me too. So I do that, but I do feel the importance of my life is the work that I do at Doris and the results that I have had, and those that are most valued besides my own direct loved ones are the people that I know through my work and their children, how they are today and where they are today, because I've followed them for so many years.
Yes.
Yes, Emmanuel, I used to work in youth refuge when I first came to stay in Canberra in 2003, because I had been here from 1998 to 2002, and I had left, and then I decided to return in 2003 to live permanently. So I spent a gap year in Brazil between the 4 years that I stayed at the ANU and the rest of my life here so far. And it's been many years. And at the beginning, I did work for youth refuge because I do love work with people, and I love work with youth, young people. And when I did that, again, there are so many that are so well, but there are so many that later on came to see me in another capacity, not as a youth worker, but as a domestic, feminine, sexual violence worker. And that's heartbreaking with their children. So children that I saw earlier,
Yeah.
then I see later when they themselves have children
Right.
and they're still in the system. So I in my lifetime here, in my lifetime in Canberra, in the last 21 years, I have witnessed that many, many times.
20 pots.
So that also shows the amount of young people that I knew
Yes.
over the 16 years that I worked in Youth Refuge, while also managing Doris Youth Refuge, because I loved my youth work face-to-face with young people in residential care. And now for many, I see them in the other side of the coin as adults with children of their own surviving violence. So we need to break that. So see that in 21 years, one foreign person arrives here and witness this in this community.
Right.
Same family going through repeatedly the same thing. So we need to break that too. And we can only break if there's a change, there's a social transformation. And that's what social work is, to transform a reality. And that's why I am a social worker inherently, in my whole being. I've always been and continue to be today. I think I will always be. Even if I try to stop working to please my family that wants me to stop working, because probably I would continue for a little longer.
Yeah.
But I will comply with that because it's for the benefit of everyone, including for our choice to live in Australia or not.
Right. Right.
So those things are all
Happening in a way. Yeah. Yeah, but
But it's sad that I'm living with that, being, knowing the needs, knowing the reality intimately,
yes.
directly from people affected, many, and seeing no progress in avoiding that their children repeat their history,
Yeah.
and not seeing the progress in the reduction of seriousness, the incidents. I'm not seeing that. So unfortunately, domestic violence is very serious, and it's not going to end. It's not going to improve. It's not going to, not say end, but it's not going to change that reality of Australia being a society that is violent towards women and children. Are we going to change that or not? If we are going to change that, it needs a very strong reaction. There is not.
If there's only one thing that you should ask to the person that continues with Doris in the future, what will be the thing?
That I'll ask that person that will replace me to continue to work with in Doris in my capacity. I think I would ask the person to be courageous, not to fear. If you are doing the work that Doris has always done, and they were so committed, there is no policies and procedures, there is all in our processes, that you're doing that work, and you're doing it with a lot of it's not only commitment, generosity. If you're not doing that with generosity, you're not doing the work of Doris.
Definitely.
The work that you need to do with generosity and commitment and strength and courage to say the truth so that you can get your result. If you don't say the truth strongly, and if you're afraid, you're not going to get the result. Or nothing. Nothing is going to come easy.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't come easy. None of the processes supporting people in various areas of their life, be it income, education, training, domestic violence, legal, or mental health, all areas that you tackle are very complex and very difficult to navigate. They don't come easy. It's not straightforward. Everything you need to work towards. And if you are not strong to believe in what you're doing, the value of what you're doing, the seriousness of what you're doing, the result to others, if you don't do your work properly, fully, if you are completely confident of that you are generous, that you are committed, that you know the reality, you need to have the strength to not give up, to have the courage to stand up and say, That's not what it is. What it is this, and this. Don't tell me that it's not, because I know it is. And I need this, and this to happen. And because of this, and this. And you need to be capable of demonstrating that in writing, verbally, diplomatically, in all possible aspects. Because if you don't, you'll just be there. You'll just, many services operate like that. They'll just have accommodation, you have the run of the mill, and you have the very superficial. We don't do that. That's not what an organization such as Doris, there is grassroots, there is no, autonomous. That's not what very committed to good practice. That's not what we do. Just have a service. We do proper service. We try to build the skills, even if it takes 10 hours to show someone how to complete a form in the internet. That's very important. Because tomorrow she's alone, she needs to complete a form, and she won't be afraid to tackle it and try to submit herself. She might not have help of no one to do that. And she might need that to achieve something for her or for her child.
Yeah, no, you're right. Totally right, because the first time I met you, I immediately noticed that this is your life, that you believe in this, it really drives you, and you see an opportunity. And Canberra people, and maybe Australia, should be thankful for having you here.
I think all of us that work in this area, people should recognize that. Unfortunately, they don't. We are not recognized. Unfortunately, I think that we are people working in community services, in advocacy work, and in case management work, they are serious and qualified. They do very complex work to a level that you don't see very often at all. People in high positions presenting. And they are all acclaimed and recognized and rewarded, and we are not at all. So I think that all of us that work in this, with this level of commitment in so many services, not only at Doris, we are actually, most of us are women, so we're heroines,
Basically, that's the word. Sorry, yeah.
Very, very good and committed people. You asked me earlier to maybe suggest a name of someone that I think is inspirational, or that has what to say of the reality of those working community service in the ACT. And I have someone to tell you who I think you should speak with. And is a worker in the sector of domestic violence, a long-term worker in another service. I'll give you her name in a minute.
Okay.
Maybe you invite her, because I think she has a lot of contributions to make, because she'll be coming here to tell you about the reality.
Yeah.
She is one of them that will say the reality like I did here, because we live that every day. We are not in planning, and we are not in analysis, we are not in policy. We are telling you what we see in life.
Yes, yeah, what is actually happening with human beings.
Yes, but Doris needs a lot of support from the community. If any company or any donor or anybody that wants to support us to do a bit more than what we do, we will happily take it. We will happily take it. If it is for the benefit of children or women in difficulty, we will happily take it and do it and report on it. So please do donate. Our number is available.
Yes.
We are not very much coming out to ask for the help. We do through applications with opportunities of grants in various places to keep our Criança Safe House program open, which is the one that we fund ourselves by seeking the help for migrant and refugee asylum seeker women and children living violence without access to Centrelink and without a decision to give them the fairness of treatment and recognition that they were victims of violence in Australia. And they have the right to remain here because going home is unsafe for them. We do this
It's still
work
complex.
in
It's just-
advocacy with ministers, with politicians, with whoever we need to do. We go everywhere, but we hope to be heard. And at the moment, we are expecting for quite a long time the response of the Minister for Immigration,
Yes.
for appeals that we have represented women and children in reaching out to them, to him, for his personal intervention and make a decision to grant permanent residency and recognition to these clients that we have. We have quite a number of appeals of families that we are supporting for a number of years, depending on the decision of the Minister for Immigration, because that's the last appeal possible, which means that this family have lost all the procedural processes, including an appeal to the appeal tribunal
Yes.
was lost. So the last resources intervention by the Minister for Immigration. So we have people at the end of the very, very end of the line, women and children. Yeah, we've had quite a few over the years, and we have been successful in quite a few too.
Yeah, but it's still getting complex.
Hard work,
It's-
having to call lots of politicians begging and asking, and some have been wonderful in supporting us, including some ACT politicians.
It's just part of the journey.
And now we are waiting for Labour government to approve for those that we are advocating for, and for many, I'm sure, but the ones that I know, and that we are desperately waiting for a response from the Minister for Immigration for them to stay and start to have a life, such as being able to go to school and to find work.
Definitely, which is another life, another family.
To a doctor without us having to pay for a consultation.
Yeah, which is if you are,
Children that live here for years and years.
yeah, there's one day that you are not generating money in this country, and it's getting
We
really
have
complex.
Good use of money and of good donations, and we are absolutely transparent in what we do. We do direct for women, for people directly there.
Yeah. Marluce, thank you for your work, and
For
I
having me here.
just
That
you know this, but I'm pretty sure that you still are going to be around there, taking care of people, taking care of the situation, advocating about all of this.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'll do something because I don't think I can sit at home. I mean, I won't sit at home, but it's a transition for me to think of retirement.
Oh gosh, yeah, definitely. The last, something for your family, something that you want to tell to your family.
To my family.
Yeah.
My family.
With all this
Let me
process, with all the-
Let me travel. It's what I like. I don't want to have a home. Our plan is not to have a home at all. Close the whole thing, everything. Don't have a home and just travel because we love it. And then I have the girls, the Doris saying, "No, what about if I have a child?" And no, I don't. I'm not going to look after your child. Sometimes, but I'm not going to live here so I can look after your child. We love traveling, and we love traveling to everywhere in the world, and we do this a lot, my husband and I, and that's what we want to continue to do more intensively. We would be doing much more intensively if I were not working. My husband has retired already. So it's my turn.
Yeah.
And I want to travel more. So that's how we do it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, my family, my daughters, for letting me travel.
Yes. And thank you for all the community. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.